The whispers of silent overload. Have you ever had the feeling that you are living life at maximum volume, even if the world around you is silent? It's that subtle but constant state of internal restlessness, where your mind is an engine that doesn't know how to turn off, and your body, a stage for small nervous tremors or muscle tension that refuses to leave, no matter how many massages you get. Maybe you don't feel exactly anxious all the time, but that deep peace, that sense of genuine rest, seems to have become a distant luxury, something you only vaguely remember feeling. If your answer is yes, you probably know the tiredness that is not just physical. It's the exhaustion that sets in after a difficult conversation, the irritability that explodes for a tiny reason, the difficulty concentrating on simple tasks, or the way you startle easily at unexpected sounds. These are the invisible symptoms that we often mistake for just stress or just my personality, but which are actually the silent language of your dysregulated nervous system, screaming for help. Your body is sending clear signals that the internal balance has been lost, and that it is trapped in an unsustainable survival pattern. To understand what is happening, we need to visualize your autonomic nervous system, which is your body's autopilot, as a system of two forces. On one side, we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is the accelerator, the fight or flight mode. It prepares you for danger, it increases your heart rate, releases cortisol and adrenaline, and sharpens your attention to scan for threats. It is vital. On the other side, we have the parasympathetic nervous system, the brake, the rest and digest mode, which brings calm, repairs tissues, and deepens breathing. In a regulated system, there is a harmonious dance. The accelerator is activated when necessary, an important presentation, a quick scare, and soon after, the brake comes into action, bringing the body back to its neutral state of calm and safety. But what happens in modern life? With chronic stress, work pressures, information overload, constant emotional challenges is that the accelerator pedal gets stuck. Your sympathetic system is repeatedly triggered, and the brake can no longer regain control. Your body becomes convinced that danger is a constant reality, and that is where dysregulation begins. When the nervous system becomes chronically dysregulated, your body's baseline shifts to a state of heightened alert, and this heightened state manifests in a series of symptoms that, at first glance, seem disconnected. One of the first signs is maintenance insomnia. You may even fall asleep because you are exhausted, but you wake up in the middle of the night, often between 2 and 4 in the morning, with a slightly racing heart and your mind starting to list all the worries of the day. What is happening is that, at this point in the night, cortisol naturally begins to rise to prepare you to wake up. In a balanced system, this increase is smooth. In a dysregulated system, the body interprets the increase as a new danger signal, and you are thrown out of deep sleep, ready for a fight, even in the darkness and silence of your room. Another invisible and deeply revealing symptom is problematic digestion. Your nervous system and your gut are connected by an express communication route, the vagus nerve. When you are in fight or flight mode, the body diverts energy and blood from the digestive system to the large muscles, those you would use to run. The body says, digestion is not a priority when we are running from a lion. If you are constantly on alert, your digestion never receives the full energy it needs. This can manifest as irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, chronic bloating, heartburn, or that feeling that food is just sitting there in your stomach. The body cannot rest, nor can it digest in peace. It is a clear message that internal safety has been compromised. This dysregulation also comes at a very high emotional cost. It drains your emotional reserve, that is, your capacity to deal with minor annoyances. Emotions become more intense and less tolerable. What should be mild frustration turns into explosive anger. What should be passing sadness becomes a deep dive into despair. You feel like you have thin skin, without filters to absorb the impact of the world. Chronic irritability, easy crying, or even emotional numbness, that feeling of not feeling anything as a defense mechanism against pain, are ways your body tries to cope with the overload of nervous stimuli that it cannot process. If you identify with this description, with the tiredness that won't go away, or the irritability that comes out of nowhere, it is a powerful sign that it is time to take care of your nervous system. Consider subscribing here so we can continue exploring the tools to re-establish this balance together. The science behind this dysregulation leads us to the concept of the window of tolerance. Imagine this window as your capacity to manage stress and emotional arousal without losing your calm or control. When we are inside this window, we can think clearly, feel emotions in a manageable way, and respond instead of reacting. When the nervous system is dysregulated and stuck on the accelerator, your window of tolerance narrows dramatically. Small stressors push us out of it. Stepping out of the window can happen in two ways, which are the two sides of the sympathetic dysregulation coin. First, hypoarousal or the shutdown mode freeze. This is the result of your fight-or-flight system having been triggered repeatedly, but flight or fight not being possible. The body, exhausted, gives up. You feel paralyzed, apathetic, with brain fog. It's the feeling of watching your own life through a foggy glass, with little energy to interact with the world or even to feel emotions. It is a state of mental and emotional exhaustion where the body protects itself from excessive pain or stimulus by shutting down. Second, hyperarousal or the switch tone mode, fight, flight. Here, you are at the top of your window or already out of it, feeling restless, anxious, with racing thoughts that seem like a runaway train. Your heart may pound, you may feel cold hands and feet because blood is rushing to your muscles, and you have difficulty sitting still. Sensitivity to light and sound increases, and you overreact to stimuli that were once normal. Your system is so overloaded that it sees danger everywhere. The vast majority of people who live with chronic stress spend their lives oscillating between these two extremes: anxious, hyperarousal, and apathetic exhaustion, without being able to stay in the center, in the state of regulated calm. The task of regulation is precisely to widen the window of tolerance and teach us the way back to the center, the place where there is energy, clarity, and peace. How then can we begin to signal to our body that, despite everything, it is safe now? The work of regulation is the art of sending small safety signals that your nervous system can absorb and integrate. The first step is gentle body awareness. The dysregulated body is often a dissociated body, meaning you live in your head, avoiding the pain and tension that are in the body. To reconnect the system, we need a re-anchoring. Start with your breath. Do not force it, just observe it. Notice the air entering and leaving, the slight movement of your abdomen. The simple act of paying attention without judgment is a sign that you are present, and the present is, most of the time, safe. Another powerful technique, which is a true embrace for the vagus nerve, is safety touch. Your body craves safe contact. In moments of high anxiety, try placing your hands on your chest, over your heart, and gently apply light pressure or a caress. Or cross your arms and hold your shoulders, as if you were giving yourself a hug. Touch, especially self-induced and compassionate touch, releases oxytocin, the bonding and safety hormone, directly into your brain. It's your body saying, "I am here for you." It is an act of internal co-regulation that switches off the need to be on alert. Grounding, or orientation, is equally fundamental. If you feel sped up or paralyzed, look around. Name 3 objects in the room. Describe their colors and textures. Feel the floor beneath your feet. This connection to the present environment brings your mind back from the anxious future or ruminating past to the only place where safety is real, the current moment. Have you ever experienced this feeling of needing to disconnect from your body to cope with stress? Share it in the comments. Perhaps sharing this experience will help create a space of mutual understanding for those on this journey. The beauty of this journey is that it reminds us that mental exhaustion is not a character flaw, but a biological consequence of living in an overwhelmed world. Your invisible symptoms, the irritability, the insomnia, the knot in your stomach are, in fact, messengers, not enemies. They are telling you that you need to stop and recalibrate. Recovery is not about curing anxiety all at once, but rather about rebuilding your capacity to feel safe, one step at a time. It is a work of deep listening. It is the practice of honoring your need for rest and turning down the volume of your life so that you can finally hear the whisper of your own inner peace. By learning to identify these invisible symptoms as signs of dysregulation, you gain the power of choice. You no longer have to be carried away by the current of your own reactivity. You can choose the pause, the gentle touch, the conscious breath. The final message is one of deep hope. Your nervous system is neuroplastic. It is designed to learn and unlearn. Just as it learned to live in alert mode, it can relearn to live in calm. It is a slow process, yes, but every time you choose kindness instead of criticism, pause instead of rush, and long breath instead of short, you are rewriting the safety code of your own body. You are engaging the brake, widening your window of tolerance, and returning to the center. And that center, the place of balance and rest, is always waiting for you. It is entirely possible to recover your peace, your energy, and your ability to live at the right volume, feeling present and at home in your own body. Continue on this path of self-discovery and self-regulation. I will be here, with the lights low and the voice calm, to guide you.